Hello everyone! Welcome back to Writeathon, day 4, I believe. Sorry again about no music. We should have gotten the no copyright stuff, but these are going to be uploaded to YouTube later, so we want to make sure that you can watch them everywhere because the live stream the other day was not available in Russia. So if you're in Russia, we're trying to make sure that you can watch going forward. But we'll wait for a few people to get in and for our guest to get on so I can invite her as a host, and then we will get started. Hopefully no technical difficulties like yesterday. Sorry about that. Things should be smooth from here on out, but you never know. It is technology. It's virtual. So we're getting that all figured out as we go sometimes, but we should be good from now on. So don't worry about it. But yeah, I hope you guys had a good week. It's Friday, so almost the weekend. I guess technically the weekend now. It's 7 p.m. at least for me, so that's basically the weekend. Hopefully you all had a great week and a great Friday, and you have some exciting plans happening this weekend. Thank you for joining us on your Friday evening, or Friday afternoon if you are in our guest's time zone. But like I said, we'll wait a few minutes to let our guest hop on and get some people in here, and then we'll get started. I'm super excited. We have another live stream tomorrow. It's a write-along, so if you need to get some writing done this weekend, that's tomorrow at 3 p.m. Unfortunately, our interview for Sunday, due to unforeseen circumstances, is canceled, but everything else is still happening as scheduled. So it's just Sunday. We won't have any live stream, unfortunately, but other than that, everything is still going to plan. So no worries there. Let's see. All right, let's get our guest in here and get started, you guys. This is my loading dance.
Hello.
Let's do my little loading dance while you were coming up. All right, let's kick things off then. Happy Writeathon Day 4, everyone. It's Friday. We've had a good few live streams so far. If you're not familiar with my face, I'm Cami. I'm a young adult fiction author and creator here on TikTok, and I'm also your interview host for Writeathon 2022. If you don't know what Writeathon is, it's an entire month of free virtual events that are designed to help authors and writers of all levels and backgrounds achieve their writing goals for the summer. If you want to check out our full schedule, it's on our Instagram. I'll have our moderator put it in the chat, so you can go over there and look at the full month. We have a live stream every single day of July, so if you miss anything, it's all there. It'll all be uploaded later as well at the end of the month, but we want you there live. So today I'm here with the wonderful Angela. She's the author of Sinner's Isle that is coming out in fall 2023. So we're going to be talking all things her debut novel, fantasy writing, and all that kind of fun stuff today. If you have any questions for us, make sure you save them for the end. We'll have about the last 5-10 minutes to go over viewer questions and also a rapid fire round. So get excited for that. But Angela, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me on here, and I'm excited. I've done some TikTok lives, but mostly just chatting with a friend, and so this is fun. It's exciting and nerve-wracking, and it's funny to be on the other side of things because I have a podcast with my friend, and so we're often asking instead of being asked, and so it's nice and intimidating to be on the other side of things.
Yes, I can imagine. I was like, I've had practice. I was in a sorority in college, so I was like, I got this down. The interviews, we're good. So I was really excited to be an interview host as well and get to pick all of your brains and figure out how they work and more about you guys. So we'll start off by if you could just give us a little origin story overview of your writing career, your life thus far up until where you are now.
Sure. Yeah. It's funny because I kind of stumbled on writing. It wasn't, I've always loved poetry and, kind of dabbled, but not ever seriously, just because my father is a poet. And so I just, kind of clung to that. And I just happened to kind of stumble upon this after we had just like purchased our home, our property. And I was in this weird space that I was just not sure what I wanted to do because I had stopped working, and I was just in this weird slump, like in life. I just didn't have that thing. I used to dance, and I wasn't really doing that, and I needed some sort of outlet. And I've always loved reading. Like I could live in a book, right? And so I pretty much was in this weird funk, and my partner was like, well, you love to read, you love stories. I come from a family of writers. Like, why don't you dabble in it? Why don't you try? And and after that, oddly enough, like the next day or so, my stepmom came to visit, and she was like, "Oh, this would be a cool story idea, because we live on this really cool, this property with these like old oaks." And she was like, "This would be cool." And she's like, "You should write a story." And I was, okay, universe, you are speaking to me clearly. Something needs to be done. And so probably that night, I didn't even have a laptop, to be honest with you. I took my partner's, and I still use it. I don't even have my own laptop. I use his. And so I opened it up, and I just started like I just wrote whatever came to mind, and I had no clue what I was doing. I just wrote, and it was so fun. It was so fun to just make up stuff, and I didn't stop. I never stopped. And so I wrote a whole book. It was such a mess, but I thought it was perfect. I was like, this is the best thing. Everybody's going to love it. They're going to make a movie out of this. And I queried it, and I quickly found out, no, it was not. And so I went back to the drawing board and just started learning craft. And I would watch Alexa Dunn and like all these different YouTubers, and reading, and just picking up books, and just devouring everything. And I started writing something new, and that new thing became what is now like the book that it has made me. So I got into pitch wars with it. I got my agent, and then we sold Sinner's Isle in a 2-book deal to Joy Revolution Books. So I could have given up many, many times, because it hurts. I have had so many no's, and some really mean ones, just harsh. But it just like built this armor. Each cut I would heal and be stronger. So I just didn't give up. And maybe it's just because I'm hard-headed or stubborn or whatever it is, but also the community that is around the writing world is so supportive and amazing and just loving. And so I couldn't give up, because this is also now my community, and it's part of the fun. And so writing is my entire personality now. It is everything I am. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, I found my thing. And I'm just so, so happy to kind of carry on like the legacy that my, uncles and father and grandfather kind of started with writing. So that's where I'm at right now.
That's awesome. And congratulations on your deal. That is insane. I guess we'll lead into, can you tell us a little bit what Sinner's Isle is about? Just a brief summary. Obviously, no spoilers or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I will try my best. So Sinner's Isle is this young adult fantasy romance. I've got to add the romance in there because we love a good romance. It is a Latinx story that follows these two main characters. The first one is Rosalinda, who is what we call a majestic. She was born with this power that was blessed to her by a goddess. And so she has this power, and all of these other girls that have it are sent to this isle, basically because everybody's afraid of what they could do. And because of that fear, they found a way, the other people found a way to kind of bind these majestics to themselves so they could use their power. And so Rosalinda is finally of age, and she can basically be given to someone so they could use her power. And so her power is this, I mean, it could be scary. It is scary. It is beautiful. It's almost like it's these shadows and these phantoms that live inside her, and she can control them and make them do whatever. And that could be anything. And so it could be vicious. It could be beautiful. It could be all of these things. So yeah, now she's of age, and she has basically the king is coming, and he is going to choose her. And she knows I won't say a bad word, but he's not nice. She knows that this kingdom is not cool, and he will use her to do unspeakable things. And so she knows she has to escape. And so then that's when we kind of meet our second main character, Mariano, who is this tough, broody pirate that all he ever wants in the world is to be the worst, best pirate, if that makes sense. And so he finds himself marooned on Sinner's Isle, where she's at. And she basically blackmails him into trying to help her escape. But it's not as easy as she planned. And so that is basically where we start the story. And it's just a bunch of hijinks. There's lots of swoony moments, and it's this lush setting. It's this tropical island. And there's really funny characters. There's some wretched, awful characters. And underneath there is like there's a serious tone, but you don't feel it necessarily because the story is this lush, swoony, romantic, shenanigan-full story. So that in a nutshell is what Sinner's Isle is.
Incredible. It sounds so good. I can't wait. I can't believe we have to wait until next fall. How are you putting up with the wait? I would be like crawling up the walls if I was you. Like, can it just be next fall? Can it just be next fall? But I'm sure you have work to do before it gets there that you're like, okay, maybe not yet.
Yeah, I think that's what's helping is that I am working on a second book right now. But like little things happen that are so exciting and fun. You know, like I'll get little emails from my agent or from whoever, my editor, that help me like stay focused. And so I'm just focusing on these little steps that we're getting to. We've only gone through the first like major edit, and so more to come, like a lot. And but we're starting to talk about covers and what that might look like, and possibly having maps, or probably just one. But so like these little things make it exciting, where I'm just like looking forward to just to see what the sketch of the cover could possibly look like, and who will possibly be the artist that does it. And so it's fun to be asked. I have like ideas. I have a lot of ideas. I sent them like 12 pages of ideas, which is probably like, I don't know if that was normal or not, but I have Pinterest boards. I've been saving covers that I love for like since I started writing the dang thing. So they're gonna have to just bear with me. But yeah, it's like little things like that just keep me like grounded and focusing on like one thing at a time. Let's get to one thing first. And so right now I'm just like zeroed in on covers, because that's something I know that behind the scenes they're talking about and working on. And plus I'm writing something new. So staying busy, plus being on TikTok.
How is writing the second book now, having sold both of them at once? Because obviously you wrote the first one and then you were trying to sell that one, but then now having to write it once you've already kind of sold the two of them together, how has it been different? Do you like it better, worse, easier, harder?
Yeah. It's different, but it's because I think so like I know that they like Sinner's Isle, you know, like that sold the thing. And so I know that they love these characters and this story. And so book 2 wasn't or isn't necessarily part of that same world. It's a different story entirely. And if Sinner's Isle does well, we can do a sequel or a prequel, which I already like have ideas. I'm like hoping Sinner's Isle does well so I can write the prequel, which is, I know, ridiculous, but like the prequel, like please let it be good because it could be fun. But it's been really different because there's this pressure to perform, you know, and to get it right. And it's not pressure that my editor or agent or anybody puts on me. It's me putting it on myself. Like for a minute I was like, oh, maybe I can't, but I have to. And so it was a whole different process because now I had to get permission kind of, you know, of what it's going to be. And so I wrote 2 synopses and I sent them. One was the prequel, which I was like, that's the one. And then one was this a dark paranormal like story, but it really didn't fit kind of the criteria of what Joy Revolution is, which is, you know, like swoony fun romances. So I wasn't surprised when they're like, that's a little dark, you know. And they passed on the prequel because they were kind of like, which makes total sense. We don't know how Sinner's Isle will do, so let's not go there yet. So I went back to the drawing board and I came up with 2 or 3 more synopses of completely different storylines, different ideas. One was the first book I wrote that went nowhere. And they passed on that, but we did lock down this second book idea. And I have to say, I'm even more excited about this one than anything, because I think it's going to be wild and ridiculous and just like so fun. And I kind of just want that. I like there will always be this underlying seriousness, you know, this theme of what we need to learn from the story, but I want to make them fun to read and just something that you know, it's taken me a year to write this book, but it'll take you a day to finish, you know. That's what I want. Like I just watched Zorro the other day and it was just it was just fun, right? From beginning to end, but you're like, yeah, there's no way this guy does this. And that's how I want these books to be. So
awesome. Well, obviously Sinner's Isle is obviously very fantastical along with the romance. So how did you go about the world building, the powers? I'm a fantasy author too, and that is like, it's the most fun part, but can also be the craziest part. Was there something that inspired the world or certain aspects of it, or did it just all come out of your brain just randomly as you were writing?
I love that question. I don't like, I believe in big magic. I love the book Big Magic, and I really do believe that stories are just kind of, for me, like they're floating and they're just waiting. And I was in the shower and this like picture of this beautiful girl being prepared for something popped into my head. And then I just saw these 2 rascally guys coming off of a pirate ship, and I thought, okay, this could be something. And so I just let it like linger for a long time. And I started reading, you know, books about pirates or, you know, magic systems, and I just like kind of just like ingested a bunch of things and let it sit for a long time, and it slowly started kind of showing itself to me more and more. But I wasn't like a plotter necessarily or anything, so I would just, the first draft I just let it go. I just wrote whatever without anything really in mind, except for I knew the beginning image and I knew the ending image. So I wrote a first draft, and I would say none of it stayed. But I figured out what I liked about it. I figured out the magic system I liked about it and the setting. But I went back and I started really doing some research on piracy, and then I would just kind of think of like look into like clothing wise and scenery. Like I just am very visual, so I was just like scouring through Pinterest forever and letting it all just kind of simmer. And so I wrote the next draft, and it really kind of clicked. But what I do notice is, for me, is I have to um like give it to somebody. So I would give it to like my friend like Kelsey Gonzalez, or a few different friends to read, and then they would just kind of ask like, okay, but why? And it's questions I didn't even think to ask myself. Why are they like this? Why is the magic like this? And so each time I would get asked a question, I'd have to answer it. And so I'd have to sit back and think about it again. And so I've been finding that to ask the questions myself and then to just sit back and think, it's kind of how I figured out the story. And even when you do get an agent, they're going to ask you why, how, what if. And then when you get the editor, they're going to ask you these all over again. And each time it's going to get, narrow that, like, that heart of everything more and more. And so I just have to discover as I go, to be honest with you. Because I feel like if I force this magic system, but it doesn't work, then I'm like forcing it to work. I know that might not make sense, but it's like I'm learning as I go, and then I'm letting myself be okay if what I first thought isn't right, if that makes sense. And so that's how I figure it out as I go, and I let myself be wrong.
Has that stayed the same now with book 2? Because obviously you had to kind of submit the ideas beforehand. So have you been a little more of a plotter, or still you were like, well, this is the idea, but I'm just going to go with it?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I got another idea. So what I did with my synopses this time, before I was like selling or pitching it to my editors, I sent my synopses to a few friends, and we went through like a fast hardcore revision of this synopsis. So they would ask, because I don't know what I'm allowed to say about this next book, because nothing's like been announced or whatever. But they would ask me the same questions. Okay, but why is this person like this? Like, I know you like that, but why? Why is this necessary? And I would be like, because it's cool. And that's not the right answer. So we went through like this quick revision of the synopses and like the story and the plot and the structure. And it was only a page, maybe 2 pages. And so we got to a place where I was like, this is cool. And it's just this like very bare bones plot point synopses. So now, as I'm writing this first fast draft, I'm learning more about how and why I'm getting to these places. And so I'm staying where I wanted it to go and what I think is right, but I'm diving deeper and learning more. But the heart of the story is still there, and I'm finding I really kind of like this. It kind of like I'm not wild anymore. I'm like, I could be going all these different directions, but I know I need to get here. So I'm staying here, but I'm allowing myself to stop and pick the flowers a little and learn a little bit. And so I think I like this better. I think I like writing the synopses, asking people if it makes any sense at all, and then kind of going for it. And it's been really fun. And I know, like, this first fast draft, I'm like battling my friend to see who can finish theirs faster. But she's an underwriter, so she's gonna win, which I just realized last night that she's cheating, but it's okay. But I think doing this has really made it okay, because I know where I'm going. I know how to get there now, but I'm still allowing myself to have fun while doing it. And for me, to be honest, I always know I'm going to revise a ton. I can't write a good first draft to save my life. To save my life, I would be a goner. So I'm just letting myself go.
I feel like people who write really clean first drafts are like just wizards. I don't know how they do it. I could never either. Editing is my favorite part. Like, I can't imagine. Oh, no, I don't know how they do it. But you did mention that you did research, obviously, for this book. So do you enjoy research? I know some people hate it. Like, this is the worst part of writing, is like having to look everything up. But is it something that you enjoyed, or you were just kind of so about it? You're like, this has to happen.
No, I'm like such a nerd. Like, I will sit and watch YouTube videos of like the Gold Rush or pirate history. Like, I will listen to podcast. I listened to an entire podcast about the golden age of piracy, and I was into it. I was invested. But like a lot of the things this first draft, I don't necessarily know. Like, I wasn't around in the 1840s, so I don't know a lot of things, but I'm just like kind of like, like writing little notes to myself, like, look this up later because you have no clue. I don't even like a lot of stuff. So I want to get through this first draft of the second book, and then I'm going to hardcore like just nerd it out and watch. I'm going to know so much about California history, because that's what the second book is, kind of 1840s California. So I'm going to know so much. I love history.
I feel like that's good, though, because it always has to happen. There always has to be research, so you might as well enjoy it. I wish Pinterest rabbit holes counted as research, but I don't think that they do.
They do. They do.
Okay.
I'm allowing it, because that is where I'm at currently. I have so much random stuff saved that I am going to fall down that hole once I'm done with this draft. I have so much. It counts.
Playlists count? Do you make playlists? Do you listen to music when you write, or are you like, nothing, silence, I need nothing distracting me?
I do have playlists that I'll listen to when I'm like doing chores around the house, and then I'll let the play the story and plots in my head with the music, and I'm like, oh yeah, like boom, I got this. Like, I have the movie. I have cast the movie. I have recorded the movie. I have edited the movie. It's all here in a playlist in my head that I play. But no, like, when I actually write, it is silent. I have a little fountain I got for Mother's Day, so I'll put that on. But other than that, I can't, because otherwise I will get distracted. I get so distracted way too easy. So I'll just be singing instead of working.
Yeah, I can only do like instrumentals, because the lyrics, then all of a sudden I'm writing the lyrics to the song. I was like, wait, no.
Yeah, totally. You're writing Taylor Swift. Like, you're like, dang, this is good. This is really good. This is fire. For sure. Even like instrumentals, I find myself like doing this, or just being like, stop. Like,
you get ahead. You're like, then the movie's in your head, and you're just like not even noticing. Sometimes it's helpful. I wish there was like a device that could just take the movies from our brains and just write it for us, but Unfortunately, we have to do
Please.
the heavy lifting.
Yeah, make that happen. Make it
yeah.
happen, please.
I'll try my best. I'm not good at science writing is my thing, not math, not science. So maybe I'll make, my sister's into science. Maybe I'll make her do it.
Good. Yes, please.
But in terms of like your characters and their development and their names, was there any inspiration for them? People, experiences in your own life? Do their names mean anything research wise? I love naming characters like secret things that like kind of mean something for the plot. So is there any kind of fun stuff like that?
Honestly, when it comes to names, not necessarily. I just like names that sound pretty. And that, or names that I've heard before and I'm like, oh, that, yes. I like my first book, oh my God, I spent days like researching names and their meanings, and each name fit just so perfectly. And but no, these last couple books I was like one of my characters in Sinner's Isle is Santiago. I'm just like, boom, that name is beautiful. He looks like a Santiago. It makes sense. So that's where I got that. And honestly, his character in particular, people who have read Sinner's Isle, he's always the favorite. He's always the one everybody's like, am I allowed to cuss on here?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Because I get sometimes like I'll get when people are reading the book, they're like, bitch, if something happens to Santiago, like I'm coming for you. And I get it because he is this, you'll see someday, he's just special. And so I found his character inspiration from Pinterest yet again. I just saw this picture of this guy and he had like coiffed hair and he had these pointy goatee, and I was like, that is him. And so I just knew that was Santiago every time in my head. That's him. And once I got the visual, then I could go back and think of, okay, why is he this way? And pretty much every character, main character, side character, side character, I think of what their life was like before the story started and why are they this way. And I think it really helps, because even in Sinner's Isle, the person that we think is the villain or is one of the villains, understanding why she is this way, why she acts this way, why, it's maybe she's not so much, right? Because she's had to deal with all of these things and this is how she's surviving. So yeah, I for me, like, to know their backstories is so important, even if it's just I did a course of Story Genius, and and in that course it's like, just write 3 random stories about your characters, and and maybe that'll help understand why they are this way. And so I try and do that, and I don't write them all out, but I just kind of play with them in my head of like, okay, when she was this age, this happened, that's why she's a grouch about this. And so it's like you kind of like learn, okay, this is where they were and this is why they are going the way they're going. So that's pretty much how I figure out characters, is just going back to the very beginning. And so a lot of their backstory like it flows into the story throughout the book, and you understand, oh, okay, well, damn, okay, that makes sense. So, but as far as like Rosalinda and Mariano, like, I just knew what they were supposed to like feel like and act like in my head. I just knew like Mariano was gonna be this broody, gorgeous, but doesn't know he's gorgeous mess of a man and young man. And so and I went from there. I knew he had to be that way.
So obviously the romance and the fantasy are both big elements. How did you find balancing the two? Was it tricky, easy? Was it something that you had to really work on in revisions, or did it fall kind of naturally as you were writing the plot, that it just the romance fit right in?
Yeah, I think for me, in anything I'm ever gonna write, it has to have some sort of romance. I don't think I could. I mean, maybe, but I don't right now. If there isn't some sort of romance, I don't want any part of it. I have to have it. I simply will not do in my life. Um, I think I no matter what, that was going to play a huge part. And adding the fantasy into it was always going to be the thing too, because I just love fantasy and I love romance. Um, but I don't want them separate. I want them both together. No, but I'll read anything of anything. But for me, writing style, I have to have the romance in there. Otherwise, I'm not interested. Like if she's not feeling a little bit like, oh, wait a minute, then I'm not excited. So, um, like blending them was just natural. It was always going to be about her, um, like trusting in herself first and understanding that. But the theme at the end and the heart of the story is trusting in loving is basically it. It's sometimes it's so hard to love. It's hard to love yourself first, and it's hard to open up and be willing to love someone because it's so scary. And, and life sometimes doesn't make it easy because you've been hurt so many times. And so love was always going to be this huge part for these two characters. I wrote them knowing, I mean, I know it's maybe a spoiler alert, but it is a romance. So I think we can get it. But they were going to always somehow fall for each other.
Yeah.
But so it was just always going to be in there. And I think for me, having to learn, though, is to make it make sense for the reader of why these two fall for each other. Because in my head, duh, like, look at them. They're going to fall for each other. Look at the situation, of course. But for the reader, it doesn't necessarily go there. I think for me, slowing down and letting the reader fall for them falling in love is key. And so I'm learning that. I'm learning how to let you readers fall in love first. It's important. I get it.
Yeah. You mentioned that you had worked on another book before Sinner's Isle. How did you know Sinner's Isle was like the one? Was it the feedback you got from other people? Was it just something you like felt you were like, yeah, this is the one?
I honestly, I don't know if I did. I, the first book I wrote, I thought was so good. and the heart of it was really good. Like there were some really cool parts of that book. It was good. But it didn't go anywhere. I mean, I got into author mentor match with it, which was amazing. And then I thought, okay, I wasn't really hearing anything from agents. I had a lot of full requests, which was amazing. But I kind of kept getting the same feedback, which was like my world building was shit. And I got it. It makes sense. Like, yeah, I just assumed everybody knew how they got here. They didn't. And so I shelved it. I was going to self-publish it, to be honest with you. But then I got some more feedback from a friend, and I knew I was not ready. And if I had self-published, I would have been so upset because the book wasn't there. I didn't know. And so I shelved it and I started writing Sinner's Isle, and um, I didn't know. I was so scared because I had been writing for a couple years or whatever it was, and I was terrified, to be honest with you, because what if this didn't go anywhere either? And I sent it to a few friends. They loved it. It was fun. But even with I still got lots of critiques from them because there was still so much to do. And I didn't even query it. I just put it in Pitch Wars. I subbed it, and I thought, of course I'll probably not get in. I've tried for Pitch Wars with the other book. I didn't even hear anything from anybody. So I was just thinking, I was just almost not sad, but I was just thinking, here we go. Like, what if I didn't really learn anything? And so I subbed it, and then I had 3 different mentees because you subbed to 4. I had 3 that were interested in working with me, and then one like bowed out because of health problems, and so I was lucky to get chosen by Margie Fuston, who is a goddess, and it gave me the boost of like, okay, wait, maybe I am onto something. So I honestly, I didn't know. I thought I felt something. I thought it was going to be great, but I didn't like know, because I didn't want to put myself in the same like arrogant space that I was with the first one. Because the first one, I really did think I was it, and I wasn't. And so so I wanted to believe, and I really thought like it was special, but you just never know until it happens. Because even after I got out of Pitch Wars, I started querying, and people from Pitch Wars were getting picked up left and right really fast. And so I started thinking, oh no, like, oh shit, maybe not. And then I got my agent, and then we went on sub, and again it was a long wait, and I thought, oh shit, probably not this time. And then we got multiple editors that we eventually went to auction with it. So I didn't know until it happened, and even still, I didn't know, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'll ever know, right? Like, I love the story, and I think these edits have made it so much better, and it's only going to get better. But I still, who knows? Who knows when it gets into people's hands how it's going to go, and it's got to be okay, because not every book is for everybody, and the people that I really wrote this for are gonna hopefully like it.
What was the most surprising thing so far you've learned? Now, obviously, you're doing traditional publishing, that you didn't know beforehand. You were like, oh my God, I didn't know this was part of it. Like, is there anything that surprised you, or you wish you had known going into it? You're like, kind of wish I had known that.
Oh, 100%. I think we all know that things just take time, and editors and agents are so crazy overworked and busy, and just publishing industry is kind of this snail, right? It's just stuck. And so I knew that was going to be it. But what I have really truly learned and finally started understanding after talking to like my mentor and agents, is that it, honest to goodness, is not personal. The no's are not personal, and it's not even like a no because your work isn't good. A lot of the times it's a no because that person did not personally resonate with that story, but it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody else won't swoop it up right away and love it to bits. So I think for me, and I just like, I wish somehow I could just make like that like understood and felt, because I think when you're in the querying trenches or on submission, everything feels you just feel so much more. Every no hurts so much, and it's kind of like, why not? This is so good. And but it's not you, it's not your work. It's just that agent in particular isn't there, or they might have something similar, or it's just not their cup of tea, and that's okay. It's like every book we pick up we're not going to fall for, and it's okay. So I think that is something I've really really learned. And then also some random weird things, like there was, so you know, you see the big announcements, you know, where it's like you post your thing and it's like got like cute little thing and everybody goes excited. And I I just assumed that was something that they told you how to do. Like you know, like your editor or someone would call you and be like, hey, so here it is. Here's what you should say. You know, like I don't know why I assumed that it was everybody knew how to do this and that they were just going to give it to me. It wasn't even like that. It was like, oh, I think maybe next week you might get, you know, the announcement. And I didn't even get it. My friend DM'd me and was like, oh my God, you sold your book. And I'm like, yeah, how'd you know? You know, and she's like, I just saw it on Publishers Weekly. And I'm like, oh shit, really? And so I had no idea that it was something I should look out for and make a cute little like Canva thing and post it. So I ended up like or messaging my editor or maybe my agent. I don't remember who, probably all of them. And I was like, do I post this? Do I share this now or do I wait? What am I supposed to do? And they're like, well, some people do now or when this other thing comes out. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to do it now. So like there's just like all these random little things that I just for some reason thought they were going to tell me how to do, and it's not that way. So getting into like communities on Slack for like debuts where people actually do know and will help you, I think is key. And like chatting with your author friends, writer friends, publishing friends, because there's so much that you just have no clue. And I'm learning to like ask because I just go with the flow. I don't want to ruffle feathers. It's just not my personality. I will hide in the corner happily for my whole life. So like to ask is so hard. And so I'm learning like to ask. And so I didn't know. And kind of when you sign with your agent, when the book is sold, I believe, they will start pitching it to TV and film agents if they think that, you know, something that could go. And then they start, you know, going out to foreign rights. And also all these things are happening in the background. And if you don't ask, you don't know what is happening or when it's happening. And that was me. I didn't know. I didn't know. So I think asking is something that I've been learning to do and I'm growing. And but yeah, I think there's so many like just little practical things, but for me finding a community that I can, and even if we're not necessarily like friends, but somebody that is sharing what they know is huge. Because like I said, I thought they were going to tell me how to do this thing, but nope. So I found out.
Yep. That's like partly obviously why we started Writeathon too, is I feel like a lot of it is so hidden until you get to the point. It's like once you get there, then you find out. Like there's no previous like, hey, just so you know, this is coming up. Like this will be along the way. So I was like, I'll ask the questions. Like,
yeah, I love that. Do it. Ask all the questions. Ask them all. Because shit, how else are we going to learn? And I think I think we hear a lot more about querying and how to query, and we understand and we can have a lot of resources. But when you go on submission, it's a really weird place. It's a really weird time because it's one of those things you don't hear a lot about because, you know, they tell you when you're on submission, editors might be looking. So if you're on social media crying about how hard everything is, maybe that might scare them off. Or they're going to see you posted, oh, I'm on submission, you know, 8 months ago, and they're going to be like, well, why am I just getting this now? You know, so submission is a really weird shitstorm. It's like this lonely world you're living in. You are tortured for months on end. It's like queering, but like 1,000, because now it's almost like this is where my book could die, potentially. And not that it's gonna always be a no, because maybe you sell another book and then you go back to that book and then it sells and it's beautiful and masterpiece. But submission's weird. It's a scary thing. So I'm sorry, whoever's on submission. Talk to me. I'm here for you.
So what are you most excited about and also maybe nervous about for your debut year? Because it'll be here sooner than you think. This year's already halfway over, so...
It's weird. It's so weird. 2023 will come before we know it. The thing I'm most excited about, honestly, I think it's just going to be to see the book, to have the book. Because I know it feels like, from what I'm seeing from authors, like, you have already, once you have it and are giving arcs away, it's almost like it's published in a way, because people are already reading it. So you're getting the hard knocks already out, or the praise. So that maybe that day that it's published, it's not such a huge thing because you've already been hearing feedback for months, if that makes sense. But for me, honestly, the thing that I'm just looking forward to is just seeing it, is just seeing my characters. I mean, I don't know what the cover will look like, but I'm just like holding it and petting it and kissing it. I think that's it. It's just seeing, like, your work turned into a book-shaped thing. And that's what I'm most excited about, to be honest with you. And obviously the thing I'm like least excited and most nervous about will be the reviews. Again, that's just how this story goes. It's how the world goes. I could think Stranger Things was a perfect season. People could rip it apart, right? So that's what I'm, not looking forward to. But I think I'll try and stay off Goodreads. But we will see. I think I'll try to avoid hearing what people are thinking, unless of course they think it's great, and then please tag me. But yeah, for me, the community is such a huge part of my life now. Like Devana on here, Angela, like the people that are on here watching, like on my end, like that's it for me. It's so fun just to have friends, and they're friends that you'll never see in real life. Probably, maybe, but actually I did see Angela the other day. But the community is so fun, and so I have so many friends that are debuting next year, and so just being a part of their journey and getting to watch them open their books and see things. Honestly, like, I get chills just thinking about watching everybody doing their thing. And so I'm happy to be a part of it all, including my own book, of course, but also all of these other amazing stories that are coming out. And, maybe even having my name in the acknowledgments of some of them, because, we have been able to feed each other through the different process. And so, yeah, I think community for me is going to be the thing that will carry me through. I hope.
Yeah, honestly, I'm so thankful for obviously TikTok and stuff like that, because it didn't exist before, and I stumbled on it on accident. I posted a video and was just like, whatever, I want to watch people's videos, and then I was like, well, maybe I'll post some more. And obviously it's grown into so much more, and having friends and being able to talk to you guys and learn from it too is so awesome.
Yeah.
But our next question will be our last one before our rapid fire and viewer questions. So if your readers could take away, your future readers, current readers, one thing from Sinner's Isle, what do you want them to take away when they read it?
Oh, I love that. I just really feel like the main theme and kind of story is just the power of love, which self-love first and trusting in yourself. And I think a lot of the times, because I wrote this book, honestly, when, well, the country's still going through some hard times, but I wrote this book during such a like volatile time. And I just felt so small as a woman. And I suppose we still do now. And so I wrote this because we're constantly told as women that we should be small, that we should be beautiful and quiet and not make a ruckus, not make noise. And for Rosalinda, she has been taught this her whole life, and it is how she survives, to make herself small, to make herself quiet, and it does nothing but hurt her in the end, you know? And so I think what I'd love for listeners, you know, especially like, or readers, especially like the younger, like young women, any woman, is to not, right? To let yourself be loud, no matter how messy it is, no matter how how it affects the world. You don't make yourself small. Don't hold yourself back to please somebody else. And so I think that honestly is what I'd really love people to see with Rosalinda in particular, is to just let the patriarchy burn.
I love it. All right, so we're gonna get into our rapid fire questions and our viewer questions. So if you guys have any, you can drop them in the comment section. My little moderator will also pop over to your live as well, so I don't miss any over there. These cool. Rapid fire ones aren't necessarily writing related. I think it's fun, okay, obviously, just to get to know you as a person too, because you're more than just writing. So okay. Our first one is, what is your go-to writing session snack?
Ooh, I can't snack and write because I will get distracted with food. If I see food, I'm done. I'm eating it all. But so like coffee, I can do. Tea, I can do. Alcohol, I can definitely do. But like snack wise, it has to be something fast or I'm stuck on that snack. I am not stopping for nobody. So like I'm trying to think what I'll bring out. No, I can't snack. I cannot snack and write. Like I'm saying, I love food. I love snacks. I will be done. I will not write. So, but coffee, give it to me. I could done. That's it.
Love it. If Sinner's Isle was a cocktail, what cocktail would it be?
Ooh. I would say some sort of mojito, but like, give me like a little zest in that mojito. Like, give me some kind of strawberries or mango. Yeah. I don't know if that is a mojito, but something like that. Definitely with rum. Mm-hmm. Piratey.
Right. Of course.
Captain and Coke. Devon said yes.
What was the last book or your current read that you read?
Okay. I just finished. Sorry. I just finished Ice Planet Barbarian.
How I get to dive into that section.
Woo! It was something. I like it needs. It was so good. It was so good. I finished that shit like in 2 days. Like, but I think I wasn't expecting. Like the first scene, honestly, was like it was triggering. It was rather like wretched and awful. So I wasn't expecting that. But once I got past that part of the first chapter, and she meets this Ice Planet Barbarian, and it was on from then. I was it was good. So yeah, That's what I just finished. I I was speechless the entire time, but it was
But it
a
was good.
great
Thumbs up in the end.
I got what I needed. I'll tell you that much.
I'll have to. I wasn't even on my TBR because I was like, even the new covers are better than the old ones. If you remember the old ones.
Yeah.
But maybe I will add it on there. um, maybe it's Ice Planet Barbarians. But what book could you reread forever?
Okay. Yeah. I honestly like any form, any remake of Pride and Prejudice. 100%. I literally can and will read that shit anytime. Any movie, anything that like says it's like comp to that,
Yeah.
I'll take it. I just
I
need
have
it. So
mine. She's right there. This is my copy. Great.
beautiful. Beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Ebooks or physical books?
Physical. I honestly yeah, I definitely need physical books because I like to mark things and just hold them. So, and even if I do read an ebook, I'll buy the book.
It looks like there was a comment from over on your side that asked, "What are you working on right now?"
So right now it is, I can give you the comp to it. It is like a gender bent Zorro. Because I know I mentioned I love Zorro. It's a gender bent Zorro sort of meets First Kill. So it's set in 1840s California before it was part of the Union. So it's Alta California. Um, and um, and it's fun. So basically my main character comes from this family who protects the pueblo, the town, from either bandits or the Americans trying to infiltrate the town, or also these dark forces. It could be chupacabras, vampires, all of these different things. So her family basically protects the town. And she's been told, no, you're not allowed to. She thinks it's because she's a girl, but there's other reasons. And so she's basically is like, no, screw that. I'm going to do it, and gets herself into a big mess. And that's basically where I'm at.
So I know, because I've seen your videos about it before, that you've been watching K-dramas. So if you had to insert your main characters into a K-drama, which one do you think they do well in? Or you'd want them to be
so
in?
Funny. I love that. Oh, okay. The first K-drama I watched was The Bride of Hybeck, and I would just put anybody in that one because it was just so. It was my first K-drama, and it gave me everything I needed, and so I would put anybody in any of those. In that one, The Business Proposal I just finished, Hometown Cha Cha Cha. So just like I'll take them in anything because the way K-dramas are written, the angst is everything I wish I could do. I want to know what the special sauce is because they literally don't even kiss hardly, like except for the Business Proposal, but like they don't kiss until the very end. But I need it. Like I will watch it. I will watch that shit until I get that little kiss. And it's just a little kiss. It's not even like what I would want.
Right.
But it's just that. And so put them in any of them because I want that angst. I want that swoon.
They really have it nailed down to a science because they're long episodes too. They're not just like 45 minutes. They're like an hour and 10 minutes each. And
they are!
Every moment, anytime they like accidentally brush by each other, you're like,
faint. I faint every time. Every freaking time. I don't know how they do it.
Viewer question was, what helps you stay motivated?
That is a very good question. I think it's being a bit hard-headed, to be honest. It's like, just like, no, I'm going to write this and I'm going to get it published. So it's like, I've never wanted to stop because I always had that goal in mind. But also, to be honest with you, the days that I'm like, fuck it, I just don't write. And that's okay. Because I will feed myself with K-dramas. or good books or whatever it is. And then those usually kind of motivate me to want to write again. You know, it's like watching K-dramas and getting the angst. I'm like, oh, bitch, we have to do that. And so I think for me, that's it. It's being okay with not writing, but feeding yourself. And then when you feel that itch, do the damn thing. And I think I wouldn't have got this draft because I'm at like 55K right now. I would not have gotten that far if my friend and I were not battling each other to finish. So
Yeah.
I think finding someone to kind of talk shit to back and forth and, you know, kind of like have this fun, healthy competition. Not that everybody, that's what motivates you, but I think finding the thing that will light a fire under your ass. And for me, it's when someone talks shit to me. So I'm like, okay, let's go. So it's been really fun. I'm not going to lie. Even though I might lose, I don't care because I'm winning because I'm getting words in. So
Yeah, so you're both winning either way because you're getting it done.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's that. We'll do 2 more questions here unless anyone has any more. What is your favorite thing about being a writer?
I honestly, I think it's like getting to explore these worlds and it's not that you put yourself in the characters, but getting to like think of how you would react to the situations that they're being put in. I think it's really fun. And I think when I'm at my most like at my happiest is when I am flowing with the words and just being free. So that is my favorite thing about being a writer is just like writing the wackiest, worst version of a story and letting it go and letting myself find the way. And so that's honestly is so fun. I really did hate drafting, to be honest with you. But when I let myself go this round, this time, it's been so fun. And so I think that's it. And it's just like being in community, doing things like this. It's really fed my soul in ways I didn't know I was kind of lacking, you know? So stuff like this, just chatting with you, it's fun.
Awesome. And I lied because there is a question I missed that I really want to know. If your
Okay.
characters, they're going to a costume party, what are your main characters dressing up as?
That's hilarious. I suppose it depends on if it was them at the beginning versus them at the end. If it was them at the beginning, Mariano would not wear a costume. He would not be into it. He would be like, that is ridiculous. I am a man. And Rosalinda would probably, I'm thinking she would probably be something that covered her up. Like she would just be like something ridiculous and not take it serious and just have fun with it. I think at the end of the book, he would probably wear whatever she told him to wear. So like they should.
Yeah.
Right? Like every good partner should.
Exactly. All right, our very last question, maybe the most important one. If you had to describe Sinner's Isle in 3 words, what 3 words would you use?
Ooh, okay. I would say swoony. That's it. No, I'm just swoony, angsty, fun.
I love it. It's sold.
Okay,
you don't need anything else, just that. It's just, of course.
Perfect.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you so much for being here. I had such a fun time. I loved all your answers. They were incredible and so helpful as well. Hopefully you guys learned something. But before we sign off, where can people find you, obviously, other than TikTok, because you're here?
Yeah. TikTok is now my new home. On Instagram, I'm the same handle as TikTok, so Angela Montoya Writes. Those are like the 2 main things. I have Twitter, but I honestly like only go on there to just say a congratulations to someone if I see that they've done something fun. But I also host a podcast, so it's of the publishing Persuasion. It's on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Tunes or whatever it's called. It's on everything. And that one we just chat with fellow writers. We've had some agents on there. We've had a social media coach on there. We have different people on there, just our writing friends, our writing community, and do stuff like this where we just chat. And so that's where you can find me as well. So Angela Montoya Writes on Instagram. And from there, you could pretty much find me everywhere.
I'm pretty sure our moderator also put it in the chat for anyone on my side of things. So you can scroll back up and she'll put it in again here in a second. But thank you all for joining us. Writeathon is happening for the entire month of July, if you missed that. So make sure you head over to our Instagram, which is also in the chat, so you can see the full event schedule. We have more author interviews, more write-along live streams if you're trying to work towards a deadline or hit a goal. Thank you so much again for joining us. I hope you have a great rest of your night and your weekend.
Thank you for having me, and honestly, thank you for being such an amazing host. You made this easy. I appreciate it. I was a little nervous, so thank you.
I was nervous too, especially yesterday. It was my first author interview. I was like, okay, what if I run out of questions? What if I don't know what to say?
Right.
But
I feel that. I feel it. I know it. So you did great. You were amazing.
Thank you. One last thing, I almost forgot. This will be available to watch on YouTube again at the end of the month. We'll be editing it so it's a little more podcasty. So any awkward pauses or anything will be gone. So it'll be a little cut down. But all of our writing live streams are also uploaded to YouTube same day. So if you guys miss anything, it's all there. Don't worry. We know it's hard. Life's crazy. So no worries about that. But thank you all again for joining us. And thank you, Angela, for joining me. I had so much fun. And I hope you guys all have a good rest of your week. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.